Good morning. Welcome to Blood Moon Oracle. And today we're going to take a look at the encouragement coming in for the day. Whew. I hope you guys are good today. I have my placements out just to save time. And so still working on cutting down the time on my readings. Y'all know I'm long-winded, but let's take a look. Okay, we have isolation coming in, distraction, and observation. Ooh, very interesting energies coming in today. So Spirit is encouraging us to pay attention. Pay attention. First of all, someone could be feeling a little bit withdrawn. It's almost like there's this fear of being ostracized, not being able to fully express or be transparent or really sit in your authenticity, because there almost feels like there's a fear of saying the wrong thing. If I say the wrong thing, then I may be, cast aside or put over there in timeout, or people may not receive what I have to say, with the right intention. There's also this energy of focusing on the wrong things, possibly. I feel like there is definitely the energy of meeting some kind of goal or heading towards a goal or trying to accomplish something. And then there could be things that are set up to distract you. There could be something about this where you're headed, this goal that you are accomplishing, that's very lucrative, or it may even be very attractive even to others. And there's this energy here of possibly even having the energy of being distracted on purpose, because someone may actually want what you have. And so there might be the energy of strategy around you. This is a good time to pay attention. I feel like that's what Spirit is saying. Pay attention to who you have around you, to the signs, and don't take everything at face value. Like, this is a time to be very watchful and observe, not just what is being said, but does it match up and align with what it is that you're seeing, right? Or to take a look at one of the best ways that I learn people is by watching. I'm definitely a people watcher. Like, I will watch. I can sit in my car for hours and just watch people. I love people watching, but I tend to not talk a lot. Unless there's something that needs to be said, I can be considered really quiet, but there's some value in being like really quiet, that King of Pentacles energy. The King of Pentacles is not one that will rush into anything, but they'll really sit back in a corner. Many times you don't even have to know that they're there. They're sitting back and they're just kind of watching. They may even see something that they like, but they're not rushing in to get it because they're busy trying to see if it really is what it says it is, right? And so there's a level of observing to gather information that Spirit is encouraging here today. There's a lot going on around you today, and it needs your attention. And it's being attentive to the right things as well. Just because you see it and you notice it doesn't mean you have to respond to it or react to it, right? Just notice it and understand the intent behind it. Because I feel like overall there is an energy of purposefully wanting to distract you off of your path. It almost feels like someone doesn't want you to get where it is that you're going. And so Spirit wants you to be aware of this energy, okay? In my clarifications, I have the Strength that came out and the King of Swords from the light side. And so this is it's almost like there's such a power that you carry. And there's a high level of assistance that you're able to offer, or resourcefulness that you offer. But there's also this energy of being seen in a almost like a domineering way, and not having a lot of sympathy or compassion possibly here. And so whatever that is that you may be wanting to say may come off. That may be the fear that you come off too strong, and that you come off conflictual rather than helpful. But there seems to be lots of value in what it is that you have to say, what it is that you have to offer. And this may actually be something that is kind of burdensome. You know, you may just give off that kind of overpowering energy, not meaning to. But I feel like that may play along with this energy of being a little bit reserved, because you don't want to come off as being too assertive or too domineering, too controlling. It almost feels like that. But nevertheless, you continue to carry on. And this carrying on, I feel like you're very concerned with not being perceived as coming through your ego, or trying to dominate, or, assert your power over others. I feel like that could be along the lines of you fearing coming off that way. Whatever that is, that's holding you back from really stepping into your power and, just really being in your authenticity, standing in your truth. And there is a need to just allow yourself to be, and it's not our responsibility really to control how other people see us. That's not our responsibility. We don't even have to be concerned with how other people see us. If we're standing in our authenticity, I feel like there is a calling to those who are called to us, or those who we are supposed to be aligned with. And whenever we start to come out of that to fit into other people's modes of what they feel like we should be, that's when we start to become distracted. And that's what Spirit is warning about today. I feel like Spirit just wants you to really just stand in your truth and your power, and be eager, to attend to issues that arise, but don't come out of yourself to do it. Don't feel like you have to transform to actually fit into someone else's mold of who they think you should be. There is an encouragement, I feel like Spirit is saying, to kind of eat. Spirit is saying to eat the meat and spit out the bone. Like, eat the flack that comes along with standing in your authenticity. Because again, those who are called to be aligned with you will be. And those who are not, maybe they were never meant to be. And so you're not being called to shirk back from what it is that you're doing, or what you're being called to do as it pertains to standing in your truth and your power. And so speak. Say what it is that you need to say. Don't hold your tongue. Don't feel like there's some fear in even being ostracized. Even that has its strengths, because that time that you would spend alone is time that you would spend going inwardly and strengthening yourself, strengthening your own resolve, so that you are coming out of that time of isolation, right? More powerful and more solidified in who you are. That's purposeful too, right? And so we also have the 9 of Swords and the 7 of Cups here. And so the 9 of Swords talks about a difficult time, possibly. The 9 of Swords, the swords is like mental distraction, right? This might even be having to deal with a difficult decision, making choices, even dealing with things like being someone who is a little bit timid and at the same time being like the subject of discussion in some type of way. But that in itself is the distraction, right? Gossip, slander, and not even having to defend that, right? And it's not that you lack the strength to defend, right? You could possibly do that, but why should you, right? It's a waste of time. Spirit is saying here, and that in fact is the distraction. That is the distraction. And that is meant to throw you off course. Okay? And so this is being aware, but not responding, right? You don't have to fight every battle that you are invited to. And it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to, right? And so, yeah, this is about having to make a possible decision of what you're going to give your attention to, I feel. And don't allow yourself to become too consumed, in what's going on, or forgetting where your focus is, where the goal is, because these other things are coming up, right? Put your blinders on and keep your eyes focused on the prize. Even when things come in, not necessarily seeming, negative, it could even be good things that come in. Others come in and offer something that sounds so sweet and beautiful. That, in fact, could play as a distraction to where it is that you're going. Remember, this is all about balance. It's all about alignment, right? And those things that may look good for you may in fact end up not even having any value because it doesn't align with where it is that you're going. And so this is a time that Spirit is asking you to be watchful. To be watchful. This is a time to think critically. That's one of my favorite words. Think critically, right? What that means is don't just take everything as true. Don't just take everything as face value. We have the Queen of Swords here. The Queen of Swords has a blade in her hand, okay? And this blade that she's carrying, she's like examining it. She's measuring it. And it almost is like she's feeling its weight and its balance, and she's testing the sharpness of the blade. She's examining it. And as we're talking about living life and being on this path, right, she brings this type of approach to how she's living, examining things, seeking, listening, right? It's almost like she is preparing herself for whatever is to come. She's preparing herself. There's a bit of guardedness here in that preparation too. And then on the other side of that, we have the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands, anytime we talk about knight, anytime we talk about knights, we're talking about, my nose always itches. We're talking about fire energy, right? We're talking about being guided to do something, to move, to act. And so with the Knight, this is all about action. And so, but it's in light of observing action, observing what's happening, being attentive, paying attention, right? Be passionate about being someone who sees. And this could also be passionate about someone who is able to be informed before acting. That's part of this observing. It's to see strategy. It's to see what's happening and how people do things, right? There's a part of this that also could be informative for our own path. Okay. And so Spirit is saying, be aware. That's what Spirit is saying right now. That's the encouragement. And there's possibly something or someone that you're observing that is actually has the potential to further your vision or to give you some level of insight. And it could be anything, right? It could even be a learning lesson that you're learning here by observing, right? But there's some need to be aware. Now, also, the interesting thing with observation, I pulled out the mirror. And what the mirror says is we're not only going to look at the bright side, but we're also going to look at the shadow aspects of both of these cards. And so the shadow aspects of the Knight of Wands is being careful. We're observing for strategy. We're observing for information. We're observing for things that we need to be aware of. And the shadow side says to be careful that you don't become too careless and become, what do they call it? A liability, right? Instead of an asset, right? We want assets over liabilities. Be careful that you don't become a liability instead of an asset, right? A risky person or a risky representative. This Knight of Swords on the shadow side carries great strength, but can be accompanied by this level of unrestraint in many ways that makes him or it seem very out of control or unreliable. And so this may be a time to even observe our own actions, our own intents, to make sure that we are concerned about character. I feel like Spirit is saying how our character is being, not that we want to be overly concerned by how people are seeing us, but this is an inner integrity that we're talking about, okay? And so the Queen of Swords on the shadow side also is balancing, she actually has two blades in her hand that she's balancing. And she's judging the qualities for the purpose of those blades. And it's almost like she is judging her expectation or her requirement, her responsibility for what she brings to a situation. In other words, she's holding herself liable and responsible. She brings her experience and this innate sense of wisdom that she carries for all the experiences that she's had, right? It's bringing to the table what you have to offer and holding yourself responsible for that, right? And so taking a look at both sides of this observation energy. So we're observing outwardly, being very critical, but we're also observing inwardly, holding ourselves to that same high standard. And so this is all about being aware. There's lots happening in the energy right now where we need to really examine and see what's happening within us, what's happening around us. Some of the things are not noteworthy. Some of them are. It's being able to make that distinction, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about the goal. What is it that you have been called to? Where are you being led? What is your responsibility, right? And so, yeah. And in doing that, this is understanding who you are and not being afraid to stand in that. Come hell or high water. That's what Spirit is saying. This is definitely a time to be aware, okay? That is my encouragement for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by. Let me know how that resonates. If it does, be aware. There's so much information for us if we take a moment to just stop and look around. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to respond. You're not being called to judge. You're just being called to just be aware. Take a look around. What's around you? What's happening? Who's around you? Okay? So that's what we're being called to do today. That's the encouragement, okay? And let me know what you see. And is it noteworthy? Is it aligned with you? Okay? That's what Spirit is calling us to do right now. That's the encouragement today. Yeah, until next time, I'll maybe see you tomorrow. I may come on a little bit later and do some readings around this Mars retrograde energy. Lots of beautiful things happening during this retrograde. Yes, beautiful things can happen during retrograde, and we're going to tap into that for each sign a little later today. And so I'll see you guys in a bit, okay? I'm going to post another video up here and tap on that one, take a look at that one as well, and I will see you all very soon. It has been Blood Moon Oracle coming in today with today's encouragement to be aware. We're in a time where we need to be aware personally, okay? All right, till next time, take care. Bye.